Oh, I guess it's my turn to choose a card.
Alright, hello.
Let's
Today
see.
I'm going to do an explanation and analysis video for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 4. Because it needs to be done. And frankly, I need to vent myself on how much I don't like computers right now. And it would help me if I would just do a quick, well actually very lengthy analysis to try and figure this out. For people who haven't seen it yet, go watch it, come back, and get a good idea of what's happening.
What is the biggest thing in the world?
So right here they're playing a
That's a
game,
tricky
they
one.
get this question, what's the
The
biggest thing in the
mountains,
world? Which
a
is
sky,
obviously a difficult
windmill.
question at first, so you can see them all reacting to it differently. Obviously the other two can't figure it out, the one thinks he's got it but isn't very intelligent. So they decide that they need assistance. Alright, so as I said, just like any of the other videos, they're basically sitting around waiting for their teacher or whatever is going to be the main character of this episode to help them get the show in motion, like any other children's show. And so this question is very difficult, so they're gonna try to solve it on their own, but they're gonna realize that they can't and seek outside help.
If only there was a way to learn more about the world.
Making it blatantly obvious that they're trying to get attention from this globe here. When it cuts back, just make sure you notice on the other side of the room that that desk has nothing else on it besides a quill, a cup, and a candle, and a lamp.
Yes, if only there was some way to learn more information about this.
Alright, here you see the globe finally showed its face, as if the episode's finally ready to start, and then suddenly it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security here and just turns the tables from this stupid computer over here.
Wow, look!
I'm a computer.
This computer basically interrupts them, and what the computer is going to try to do is show them that it's much easier to use a computer to answer their questions and problems than it is to find it out by yourself or on your own.
I'm a computery guy. Everything made out of buttons and wires.
Now, I found this interesting because he says he's a computery guy, and of course we know computers don't have genders and they're not human. This could just be something he's saying to be silly, but I also think about when people use programs like Cleverbot and other things where they're actually talking to a computer as if it's a real person, kind of like what they're doing right here. So he's basically telling them he's made out of buttons and wires, just kind of showing off what he can do, trying to impress them, get their attention, just like he did in the very
I'd
beginning.
like to show you inside my digital life. Inside my mind there is a digital mind.
Now this part was extremely confusing to me at first, but with some thinking about it, I can come up with maybe two explanations. One, this represents the brain of a computer. Obviously, it's not like a human brain. It doesn't grow and develop. It just stores information. This might be why it looks so gobbledygooky and wiry right here, because computers aren't as smart as we think they are. They mess up very frequently, and they only really take in most of the information that they have. So, obviously not like a human brain. You can clearly see that compared to the outline of an actual human brain there. But this could also maybe symbolize what someone's brain looked like if all they did was spend time on the computer every waking moment. I mean, obviously their brain wouldn't grow and develop like it should. So, that's that.
Oh, maybe you could help us answer this question. What is the biggest
Clever. I'm very clevery guy.
See, right there. He doesn't even get to ask the computer a question before it interrupts him again. Just trying to show off, trying to look smart. It wants to make itself the center of attention here, and feels like it's smarter than everyone else, therefore everyone should be listening to it. So it's going to constantly interrupt the puppets like it wants to talk about what it wants to talk about.
Wow.
Count to a 50 in the blink of my eye and print a picture. And then I tell you the time. Help you to find something you're wanting to find.
So basically here it's showing off more of its features. I mean, it can tell time, can help you look for things, it can print pictures. All very good reasons why you should use a computer instead of doing things on your own.
No, it's easy to be.
This part, I thought it was kind of meaningless, but I'm just going to add that in there. He's spelling things wrong, which might also be a symbol here. The computers aren't as smart as we think they are, and they generally like to abbreviate things, but it could also be how we like to type things on computers. Nowadays, it's too much work to just type out the whole thing and easier to just use abbreviations, which is kind of what he's doing here, but that might just be because he doesn't have a lot of room on his computer screen.
A clever smart boy like me, if you could do it all digitally.
So there, that's basically a prime example that this computer is trying to show them that they should use it because it's smart and it can do all these things. He just flat out said there, if you want to be smart and intelligent, do everything digitally. And we know that isn't true.
Wow. I'd like to be as smart as a computer.
So the yellow puppet here, obviously, him not being very smart, wonders what it would be like to be as smart as a computer. You can see his head there, very large. And that's true. If you used a computer to find all your information all the time and never tried anything for yourself, well, you would be pretty smart, but you wouldn't fit in socially. And you might develop an ego to the point where you wouldn't really fit in with most normal people. So it's not a very good idea to just have a brain like a computer's where all you do is take in information.
Actually, we already have a computer.
And so this red guy here shows them that, oh, we already have a computer, but the computer doesn't like that, and he wants to ignore that and show that he's superior here.
Great news! Now, before we begin our journey, I just need to get some information from you. What's your name? Where do you live? What do you like to eat?
And obviously, I'm pretty sure we can all relate to this. For some reason, whenever you want to make an account or maybe just buy a computer when you first get on it, computers are known to ask you all these useless and somewhat private questions that could really be dangerous if someone else found out. But it seems like it's doing more taking in information than it is giving them information. It hasn't answered any of their questions, but now it's now it's questioning them.
I live in my house.
Spaghetti.
Well, my name is...
Great news! Now just a few more questions and we'll be on our way.
Wait a second.
What's your favourite colour?
Stop
Do you
talking.
like cows or goat's milk?
Be
Do you
quiet.
have brown hair? What is your blood type? Are you allergic
Shut
to
up!
Don't touch me.
What?
And there is nightmare fuel. I'm not understanding most of this part other than the computer doesn't like being interrupted, obviously, because he was trying to talk to everybody and the guy was literally pressing his buttons, which made him very angry that he was being interrupted. And after this, we're going to go into an example of when computers mess up. It's just a whole mishmash of glitches and bugs and odd noises and terrifying imagery.
Welcome to my digital home. Everything made out of numbers and code.
Now, you can see they're still alive, sure, but they're in the digital world now, which essentially would look nothing like this. I mean, it is, just like he said, all numbers and code, but it's kind of just showing, like in a cartoony style, that they're inside the computer here. And once again, he's showing off, except this time he's showing off what's inside the computer. And you'll also notice that whenever this computer is talking, I notice that when he's singing, he follows a pattern every time he speaks, or when he's singing, he follows the same pattern, which is scripted. Found that interesting.
Wow, we're all computery.
Oh yeah, wow, because of the computer.
Yeah, you can see the red guy still isn't interested here. He has been the entire time. The other two have already gotten hooked by what the computer can do, but red guy here is not very impressed. Also, that little skipping thing might be a joke of how videos can skip sometimes. Don't know.
I don't get it. How can it be if I'm sitting at home but I'm inside the screen?
But you're not you. You're your digital you. Virtually real, but controlled by real you.
But if he's not quite real, then I'm not real too. And you're not real you is inside your real you.
They make a very good point here. Alright, so these puppets, the other two, don't understand virtual reality. So the computer explains that they're controlling avatars, kinda. It's not really them, but it's being controlled by them, which is kind of what we do a lot. Think about video games, accounts on just about anything like Facebook or YouTube, anything where you can be someone you're not, and we seem to take advantage of that. He's not really showing that, but he's showing that you can be somebody else behind the computer screen when inside you're someone different, not real, only virtually real.
Oh wow, how amazing and interesting too. But in this digital world, what can we do?
He poses a very good question here, but you're going to notice for some reason the computer's a little slow to react.
What can we
Oh,
do?
good question. Well, it's up to you. In the digital world, there's over 3 things to do.
So it took the computer some time to just answer that simple question it probably should have already known. But it contradicts itself. It says it's up to you, but then it says there's only 3 things to do. So that's kind of weird. And as you'll notice, I think that these 3 doors kind of represent something. You'll see door number 1 always has a graph of some sort. And I feel like it represents kind of how computers back in the day and were used in offices, and back when they didn't have a lot on them and it was primitive, you'd use like Microsoft Excel and stuff to store information or do boring stuff like that, which nowadays nobody likes to do. And you'll notice that eventually he's going to open the door and there's going to be nothing there. The second door kind of represents graphic design. And also, perhaps how we like to see ourselves as someone different on the computer. But you'll notice that the graphics in the second door keep getting more and more realistic, kind of showing how we advance in technology and computers, try to make things more HD. And the last room just kind of represents the fun. And you'll notice that it's just a computer there, but eventually the other two will get sucked in and start to realize that they're just using the computer for fun. This is nothing informational and nothing educational at all.
Wow, look at pie chart.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look at bar graph.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look at line graph.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look at oblong.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look, nothing.
Digital style.
Dancing. Hey, this is fun.
So at that point, you see both of them have just showed up in door number 3, and there's no longer anything in door number 1. Another thing you'll notice is a little before, but sometime in that range where those two went into door number 3, you notice they're not on the other end anymore. Or if they were, they'd be looking at the computer, but it's just the red guy, and it's a little darker. Possibly showing how sometimes we spend way much more time on the computer than we think we do. And his friends obviously are starting to get sucked into it.
Nothing.
Digital style.
Dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Nothing.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
And now you see here, just what I said, he's kind of alone. For some reason, the yellow guy's dad is in the corner. I have no idea what that means. That's just kind of creepy. He's always in the background of these videos for some reason. But anyway, just to check Now you can just see there for a split second his friends come back, but they're all cubic and digital. This represents how they're kind of blinking in and out of reality because of how sucked in they are to the computer, just shadows of their former selves. You can see up there the computer's just become all junky, kind of like just a motherboard hovering above all this madness. We clearly see this computer is not being used for educational or informational purposes anymore. Everyone's just kind of freaking out. Coming up here is the part that's always the hardest for me to explain, but basically, what's the best thing to do when the computer is getting out of control? Unplug it. So he's going to follow the plug, or the cord, but he's going to go into this room, and I always have a hard time explaining this, kind of, because it's real tricky, but just watch for a sec. So basically, he walked into this room, which is essentially just another episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, except it's all primitive, or perhaps it's too realistic. Either way, after the red guy's digital journey here, he comes back into reality and essentially can't handle it. It's either too primitive, like I said. You could say because they were using dummies and such, that maybe it's too in the past, but the fact that they're using a real duck and a mannequin and the broom, you could say maybe it's too realistic. It's one of the two, but either way, he's found that he can't fit in anymore because he's too different from everything else in reality, and his brain can't handle it there. You'll notice the yellow guy had a tape recorder on him that's just kind of spitting out random lines. The one that he hasn't said yet in an episode is, "You're not invited to the party." Not sure what that means, other than that this red guy doesn't belong back in this room. What this room could represent, I don't know. It could be reality, like I said. It could be Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared in the past. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared in the future. Maybe they're filming a future episode. Either way, I mean, it goes back to that silly theory. I mean, he saw himself, and normally, two people that are exactly the same can't exist in the same universe, sort of deal. So I guess that's why his head exploded. I have no idea. Other than that, that's pretty much it. You'll notice a lot of symbolism in this. You'll see characters from previous episodes, objects from previous episodes, and the recurring theme of oats. Now, I can't really explain much about oats other than it might be an anagram for OTAs, which has something to do with computers, but I forgot. And as always, there's always the date the puppets got kidnapped, June 19th, everywhere. But besides that, that's a pretty good analysis and representation of what this episode is trying to get its point across about computers. Something I just realized is that the puppets then room in the end might actually realize that maybe they were replaced because they were on the computer so long, so they needed to replace them. That's something that just came to my attention, but thought I'd add it in. Anyway, bye.